Hello friends, uh, welcome to this short video with Industrial Product Finder. And here we're going to talk about the various aspects of safety market, the automation market, and the trends for future. Just to begin with, a small introduction about the company. Schmersal India was started in 2007 as a small trading organization with offices in Pune, Delhi, and Bangalore. And subsequently, over the past 15 years, it has grown to more than 120 people. Once we started in 2007, very soon we realized that market would need a lot of these safety products, but these would need to be manufactured here in India. And hence we decided to build a manufacturing plant in Pune. This was started in 2013. Subsequently, we also started a free trade warehouse zone, which we have in Dubai. This basically caters to our customers who have various import benefits from the government of India. The next thing for us was to have our own export-oriented unit. So we have an export-oriented unit here in the same location in Pune. And the next step was to support the Schmersal group globally. IT center, engineering center in Pune, main city center, for the global deployment of solutions for the whole Schmersal group. So all I can say is from simple trading organization, today we are having a big manufacturing plant, we have an export-oriented unit, plus we have divisions which support our group for the IT and engineering.
So that takes us to the second question that Schmersal has been in India for around 12 years, and now what changes as such as you have you observed in this particular timeline and in with regards to the Indian industries?
Actually, if you see in the past 15 years, there has been a sea change which we have observed. I always say that initially when we started, safety was considered something like a sweet dish which you can have after your lunch or dinner. It is not mandatory. So there were many machines, many processes without safety. But now we see a very big change. There is a big awareness about safety with the people. I can give you a small example. Like earlier, whenever we used to talk to customers, they were not very for safety, or it was done only if it was mandatory. But now we have started working with customers. We have got orders where customers get us involved even to do the design analysis of any machine which is coming up. This we feel is a very big sea change from past 15 years. And what I can say is that people now consider safety in the industry as a default. It has to be there in all the machines. You see, there are many manufacturers who used to have one set of machines without safety and another set of machines with safety. But there are many manufacturers now who have made it as default. And the best part is they engage with us right from the start of the design of the machine. And most importantly, they also for implementation of the safety in the machines.
So what do you think that this safety awareness has increased among Indian manufacturers? So what are the possible reasons behind that? Why the safety part is gaining so much of importance and prominence in Indian industry?
There are many reasons, and the first reason I can say is the knowledge of safety available now. If you go to a lot of websites, you have a lot of manufacturers of safety in India. So the users of safety have a very easy available source of knowledge. And companies like us, we have got training programs. Before that, you see, each of these companies, we have a lot of customers who have their own engineering people who have been on the safety related parts of the control system. So they have these capabilities in-house, which has increased a lot of awareness in these companies. The typical comes to, you can say, mid-size or small, typically in the MSME sector, where the level of safety of awareness of safety is still a bit less, but there also it is increasing. And what is propelling the safety awareness in MSME is there are a lot of free softwares which are available. Like I can tell you, any MSME or any person wants to know what is the level of safety in his machine today. There is a free software on the net. He has to download it. He can start using it. There are trainings which are available. And once he has, he can easily find the safety level of his machine. So this gives a lot of boost to the increasing the awareness. Further, I mentioned about training. So training is done by many of our customers for their employees. We have levels of training, level 1, level 2, and level 3. So level 1 is basically for the operators of the machine. These people use the safety systems on the machine day in and day out, but they are normally not very highly qualified. So we do a level 1 training of them, how to handle safety products. We take a small test at the end of training, give them some certificates. So this is what we do in the level 1. In level 2, it is for the designers of the machine who design the safety related parts of the control system. So these are more like engineering people. And the third level is we do it for a specific machine. Like if a machine manufacturer is a packaging machine manufacturer, we do trainings for them only on the packaging machine itself. So with these trainings, the safety awareness increases, and more important, if you see the Bureau of Indian Standards is also adopting the ISO norms. With all these things, we see a great increase in the awareness of machine safety in India.
So moving ahead, could you stretch a bit about the importance of switchgears when it comes to ensuring safety of the machine as well as the operator?
What we are talking about is the role of switchgears when we say. But here we have to keep in mind that whenever we assess a machine for safety, there is a safety can be done direct safety or an indirect safety or an indicative safety. When we say direct safety, the role of switchgear is not there. You make a machine in design stage, anticipate the hazards and try to eliminate the hazards as far as possible. This is the best way to implement safety. And here you see the role of switchgear. But it is not always possible to avoid the interaction of man and machine in such cases. So what is done whenever there is a need for an intervention, you need to provide safety. That basically forms the part of an indirect safety. And wherever indirect safety is also not possible, the switchgear picture, but then you have indicative safety, the last part of it. And if you see the further role of the selection, it is very critical because the technology has moved very fast, right from contact type, non-contact type to RFID to contactless. So it is very important to select the right technology for a particular machine. The other aspect is not only the technology. When we talk of India and when we talk of specific users, we also have to check what is the level of the user who's going to use this safety. You see, many times we have contract workers or not so educated people on the machine to use this. So if we are expecting these type of people to handle machines daily, it won't to employ the highest levels or the latest technologies of safety. It can create a mismatch. The other part, when we talk of the safety sensors and the various industries, now the industry has evolved and it has got its own specific demands. Like if you take food and beverages, there you need hygiene compliance. So all that is available with hygiene compliance, whether you take the push, take the light curtains. When we go to the heavy industries like power, steel, cement, we have specific switches which are made of cast iron. So these are really heavy duty switches which are made for this industry. And when we talk of this sensors and all the control devices, we distinctly observe one trend that the safety functions are basically moving from the hardware to the software. So we also have controllers like with all the necessary connections to the main server.
So that actually brings us to some new use of new age technologies in ensuring safety, and that gives a prominent fact that use of robots and all those new age technologies have been increasing, especially in the sectors of warehousing and automotives. So, what do you think? Like, how is this contributing to the rise in use of safety solutions with use of new age technologies, as you mentioned, using sensors and all?
See, the new technologies, if you talk technologies like typically the robots. So when we talk of these robots, for example, you have the latest 10218 standards, which place a lot of demands on the performance level for each safety function when you build these robots. And we have seen an exponential rise. Like earlier, you used to have standalone robots for specific areas. Now we have robots for an entire process, and then you have robots which work in tandem operations. So the increase in these new technologies and robots, it is going to such an extent that wherever a customer has large number of robots, you even have a separate robot to upgrade the software of the existing robots. And this places a lot of stress and demand on the safety functions which the system should have. So basically, when these type of systems are to be placed, we normally ask the customers to share their layout. This is the first step. And we try to build a safety fence around these robots. And when you have the safety fence layout, you can easily know which are the areas where you need to have guards, where you need sliding doors, where you need cutouts. Once this is finalized, then you can select the appropriate safety devices, whether you need an interlock or whether you need a light curtain. This makes the design a foolproof one, which has to be implemented later. And again, all these emerging sectors like robotics have their specific demands. Like it is very typical to use an interlock in a robotic application, but then it is mandatory that you have to provide an emergency exit for a person who by chance gets trapped inside a robot fence. So with these functions, each sector demands a lot of things, each emerging sector demands a lot of things, but with the correct deployment of the safety standard, it becomes very easy and convenient. And only if it stick to the standards, you get a complete solution.
So moving ahead, could you tell us that how exactly is Schmersal India helping its customers to move to or to help them in the transition towards Industry 4.0? Could you share the journey?
Yeah, actually, today, whichever customers we go, the first interaction happens on the IoT part of it. But there is an interesting thing which we observe that people are doing or thinking of IoT in bits and parts. And this is the main area where we are interacting with customer. We are doing a lot of information sharing with the customers because we have to make them understand that when we talk of IoT, it is not simple individual functions. It's a complete ecosystem. And unless you bundle the complete individual functions or the pillars, you won't really get something of an IoT, what we are talking about. So the first step, what we do is to help the customers to transition to Industry 4.0 is to make them aware of the whole big picture. And then what are the steps? Because here we have to move step by step. What are the steps we need to take so that we can incorporate one function after the other? And this we do through trainings on our own. We do one-to-one trainings with the customer. We also have interactions through various forums like VDMA. They organize a lot of events through Industry 4.2. And we are collaborating with a lot of industry bodies to do the awareness of Industry 4.0. But whatever said and done, we always believe that if someone wants to implement IoT, the best way is to demonstrate to him how things would work. So in our factory here in Pune, we have a kit. We have an industrial IoT center where people can come we can work out solutions from them, and we can try these solutions for them. In fact, with the units which we have here, we can also train the people remotely live on an IoT network with customers who are remote. So with pushing the IoT awareness, we also are taking care that we have the necessary solutions and the products to cater to it. So if you see the latest solutions from Schmersal, which talks of the RFID sensors, which talks of the controllers, these are fully equipped to take the customer to the next level of IoT.
So could you elaborate on the recent trends and how Schmersal is going by them and how they are tracking it?
If you talk of the trends, the basic trend which we see very, very clearly is the move towards more and more automation. We all know that the benefits of automation are tremendous. There is no limit to it. But when you implement automation, it's also very necessary to have safety as a critical aspect of this automation. What are the people demanding? They basically are demanding more flexibility in their production lines. Like earlier, if you had a line for a particular product, now you want to use that line for various different products or for different variants to get the higher productivity out of it. Now, when you have these cases, the safety, implementing safety is not as simple as it was earlier. So you have to do a risk analysis of the machine, of the complete process, and then we can come up with a lot of solutions for these type of demands from the customer. The other thing which we see very clearly from the customers is the information chain. Like the safety devices are no longer dumb devices just to start and stop the machine. There is a lot of information which comes from the safety sensors, which can be used, which can be analyzed, and which can be used for, say, predictive maintenance. So there is a clear need of the customers to move the safety information change from the sensors first to the shop floor, and then from the shop floor to the cloud. This is a very big trend which we see, and we have got solutions. As I mentioned, we do the risk assessment of the processes before. Then we have a new bus system, the SD 4.0, which is a serial diagnostics bus. And we also have a big range of controllers. And we have right from the simple safety relays with multifunctions, we have a controller, and then we have the safety PLCs, which can help the customer to go to his future demands of the new trends which are coming.
So considering that the COVID-19 has already affected all industrial sectors, so would you like to suggest something to the government or probably to the industry to help contain the impact and to prepare for a better future?
It is always very easy to give a lot of suggestions, and especially to the government. But one thing which I would definitely feel is that the government has already started a lot of things, but this has not yet reached to the various, you can say, the people who want to come out of the stress of the pandemic. If you see, for example, there is a scheme of the government to push the startups. The government gives a lot of incentives for these startups, not only in terms of loans, but even the first 3 months free a site where they do not have to pay rent just to build up prototypes and get into these things. So I would definitely like to the government to make this more and more aware to the people, to the general public, that these schemes are available. On the bigger global front, the government definitely has to push and make India visible as a very viable destination for the future of manufacturing. We talk about how good we are, but when we see outside, we are still not seen as the most preferred destination for shifting of manufacturing base, and we already have a lot of competitors from the Southeast Asian companies who, I can say, do a better job in terms of attracting these investors to them. Also, we have seen The government has taken some measures, but the most difficult part comes now when we see the number of cases coming down. I think it is the duty of the people as well as the government to ensure that we do not have a second wave or the third wave. So where we know our issue of discipline, so the government has to be more harsh in terms of ensuring this discipline to avoid the next second wave or the third wave of this. For the industry, I think the most important thing is to be mentally prepared. This pandemic has taught us is there can be disruptions and there could be severe disruptions which we have never seen before. So all the leaders have to be prepared for this type of disruptions. And one of the best ways to be ready is very clear. You have to digitalize and you have to automate. You don't have to come close to the machines. You don't have to come close to the plants, or you don't have to have large number of people traveling to plant to run your production plant. If you could do this with the digitalization and automation and various options which are available, I think we could be prepared for any such shocks in the future. When we talk of people, the major change is for the work from home. So you all know that not everyone has the same level of infrastructure at home. And I think all the companies have to take care of it, that the employees are mentally and physically stable to work from home. And in many cases, the policies have to be relooked and changed into.
So moving ahead, just a small add-on question, like all your manufacturing plants are active as of now, and what capacity or what percentage it is active when we compare it with the pre-COVID time?
If you see, we have 7 manufacturing plants globally, Schmersal, except China, which was closed for I think 15 days or a month, and India was closed for about 10-15 days. All our production plants are running to the full capacities since then. So even today, our production plants works in 2 shifts, and we have the export-oriented and the local units which are working for it.
Okay, that's a very positive indicator for your company. As well as I would like to ask, like any other growth plans that you are targeting as of the coming financial year or by the year's end, or any of your stall projects which you would like to kickstart in the coming fiscal or probably by the start of next year?
No, we definitely need to have, not only us, I think everyone needs to have a growth plan, because it is very clear that it will take some time for us to come back to the pre-COVID level. So in that meantime, everyone has to manage the expenses, and for that we need to have specific growth plans. If we talk for Schmersal, we have decided to move into domains where we were not there earlier, domains like defense or railways. This is very easy for us because we have a local R&D here and a local production here. And the R&D department here in India is backed by Germany, who already has more than 70 years of experience in designing these switchgears. So we would be able to know the nuances of these sectors, build products, design products here in India, which could exactly fit into these sectors. So for example, if we go into a particular defense sector, you need the sensors or the products to have a very wide range, say from -50 to +70. These are the type of things which we can cater and we can develop in India. So this is one of the points which we are definitely looking at to add a lot of new growth areas. The other thing which we are focusing is the complete system solution sales. It is also a demand from the user, and we want to push it more. And it's going to be a win-win situation for both the user and for us. Because if we have the new solutions which can increase the diagnostics, it can reduce the downtime. We have solutions which can reduce the wirings. We have the field boxes which can reduce drastically the amount of wiring which moves. We have controllers which are specifically programmed for the machines. So with all these things, I think we will be addressing more and more aggressively with the existing customers to make their systems much more safer to a higher level and also give a complete safety solution to them.
So you mentioned about railways. So I was just curious, like sometime back I was talking with, in a webinar, I was speaking with some of the stakeholders who are from government departments. So talking about PSUs, that PSUs are now interested and very much keen to buy it from Indian manufacturers. So have you also tried to or probably designed a strategy to move your supplies to those government PSUs as well?
Yes, yes. In fact, if you see the recent scheme by the government, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, you have class one products which would be given a weightage if the local content is more than 50%. And since we have a manufacturing facility here, we have a strong team for vendor development and R&D. I think we will be soon qualifying most of our products into this class one. So all the PSUs which will be requiring these safety solutions, they would get it from an Indian manufacturers because we are one of the Indian safety manufacturers who manufactures in India, and also we have a good amount of localization content, so they can easily qualify us for the class one products. So we see this as a very good opportunity, although we have to work on it a lot. It's easier said than done, but we definitely have plans to move into this sector using this strategy of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
So you also spoke about one of the important fact that you already have a testing lab here. So you also engage your suppliers as well as your clients to develop solutions, or you only engage your clients to whom you give your solutions.
No, we do it both ways. And we have an R&D lab, and we have got some specific equipments like if you want to do a live test of a product which is just developed. So we have this. How this works is we identify with the customer. Normally the customer has some issues which needs to be sorted out. And then our R&D team with the sales team interacts, we develop solutions. The good part is once the design is developed, we can do design reviews here with the customer. We can test the product here and then it is deployed. With the biggest advantage is the speed of response. Normally, if we wish to take say 12 months to develop a product, now we can do it in few months. The what you can say, the time to launch a new product is very less for us because of all the local support what we have.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your time. That was a very interesting discussion. I would definitely like you to invite to our other upcoming webinars as well, wherein yes, you will definitely like the content as well as would be happy to have you on board as well as a speaker. So we'll keep you posted and we'll stay connected, stay in touch, and yes, stay safe. That's the main important thing.
Yes.
Thank you.
You have a safe time at your place.
Thank you, sir.